things. You need to get away from those things that are trying to fill your heart up, but are not the real thing, that are not the real love of Christ. So I'm writing to you now, after experiencing it myself, John says, that you may know this. Because anything that we fill our lives with, this is good for us, other than Christ, will limit all God can, will, and wants to do in our lives. When we put something in our hearts that is not Christ, and make that the most important thing, it will limit all that God wants to do in our lives. Because sometimes we take good things and make them a foundational thing, and that makes it an idol. That makes it something that's going to take the place of God's place in your heart. So John's writing to them and saying, hey, there are idols out there. There are imitation things in there that are trying to fill your hearts. And all of us sitting here today can think about things that are trying to fill our hearts. Where does your mind go when there's nothing else drawing your attention? That might be the thing that's trying to draw your attention away from Christ. When there's nothing else blocking your mind, where does your mind go? That might be the thing that is taking the place of Christ in your life. That might be your idol. And John's saying to them, there is a way to know God's real love. There's a way to know it. And here's what he says. Here are the things I want to get to today in 1 John chapter 2. He says, the first thing that you can do for knowing the real love of Christ, how do you know that you know the real thing? The real love of Christ always points us to obedience. Because as I'll say later, the world's first choice is not to love others. But it's got to be our top priority. And it's got to be our greater priority, our greater way of living. What I'm saying to us is we grow in God's love, we stay connected to the Father, the way in which we view our situations become different, start to transform and change. And so that moving our chair to the right or to the left so that we can see the bigger picture is not a problem anymore because we're connected to the Father who has our best interests in mind, who's with us in the struggle, who's going before us as well, he says. I'm going before you, I'm going with you, I'm going behind you. I am all in. When we are connected to the Father, when we abide in Him, when we stay with Him, when we remain in Him and in His Word, then our situation we can see differently. Our perspective is a direct result of our connection. So if some of us are still in this tent, not literally. We're in the tent and we're crying, God, you've seen me go through this. I know what your word says. I know what you said, but I don't see it. God is saying to us in our tents, He's coming down to us, and He'll meet us where we are. That's what He does. He's good at that. He'll meet us where we are. Whew. Get out here. Get out here. And open up your mind to the possibility of greater and greater and greater. You need a bigger picture for that which you're facing that is sucking the life out of you.